In a cold room in medieval England, 12 old men are about to swear to the day you were born. None of them are your parents. There is no document. There is no certificate. There is no record anywhere. There's only what these men remember and why they remember it. This was a real legal procedure. It was called proof of age. Here's when it happened. A child inherits land, but they're too young to take it. The estate waits until they come of age. But how do you prove a child has come of age in a world with no birth certificates? You don't check a document. There is no document. You summon a jury, 12 men, all over 40, all of whom knew the family, and you ask them, under oath, to remember. And this is the part that should give you pause. It wasn't enough for them to say, yes, he's old enough. Each man had to say why he remembered the birth. So they'd anchor it to something. I remember because my own son was born that same winter. I remember because the river flooded that year. I remember because I broke my leg the week the child was christened. 12 separate memories, each pinned to an event, assembled into a date. That was your birth record. Not paper. People. Historians who studied these hearings noticed the memories were often suspiciously similar, almost rehearsed, which tells you something simple and human. Sometimes they were genuine. Sometimes a family coached the witnesses. But genuine or coached, the mechanism is the same, and it is staggering when you sit with it. For most of human history, the answer to, when were you born, was not a number on a card. It was a room full of people willing to swear they remembered. Your age was other people's memory. And it goes deeper than age. Step back from that room and look at the whole problem. For 300,000 years, human beings were born, lived, and died without a single piece of identifying paper. No birth certificate, no ID, no file in any office anywhere. And it worked, because identity wasn't something you carried. It was something other people held for you. In a village, you didn't need to prove who you were. Everyone already knew. You were your father's child, your grandfather's grandchild, the one who lived in that house, worked that field, married into that family. Your name often said it out loud. In ancient Greece, when two men shared a name, you told them apart by their fathers. Pericles, son of Xanthippus. The identity was the lineage. You were a position in a web of people who knew you. That web was the record, which worked perfectly, right until you left it. The moment you walked beyond the place where people knew your face, you had a problem that's almost impossible for us to imagine now. You became no one. A stranger arriving in a town he'd never visited could not prove a single thing about himself. Not his name, not his trade, not whether he was a free man or a runaway, a merchant or a thief. There was no system to check him against. There was nothing to check. So societies improvised. A traveler might carry a letter from a priest or a local official vouching for who he was. A seal pressed in wax standing in for a person. By the 16th century, in some places, being caught without a paper that identified you could get you punished. You start to see the shape of what's coming. The web of people who knew you doesn't travel. So we began inventing objects that could travel in its place. A letter, a seal, a pass. In 1414, the King of England, Henry V, started issuing documents to help his subjects prove who they were in foreign lands. We will later call these things passports. A piece of paper standing in for a community that couldn't follow you. And once that idea exists, that a document can vouch for you when no human can, it never stops growing. For centuries, it stayed crude. A passport in the 1700s was a few lines, a name, an age, a wax seal. Then, slowly, the paper started to do something the village had always done, but better and colder. It remembered everyone, permanently, whether they knew you or not. A jury of 12 old men could only swear to people they'd met. Their memory had a range, and that range was the size of a human life in a day's walk. The document has no range. A file in an office knows you whether anyone in that office has ever seen your face. It outlives the men who would have remembered you. It crosses borders you'll never cross. We treated this as pure progress, and in many ways it was. The stranger could finally prove himself. The traveler was no longer no one. The orphan with no village could still have a name the world would accept. But something was quietly traded away, and almost nobody noticed the trade. For 300,000 years, you existed because people knew you. Your existence lived inside other human beings. To be forgotten and to stop existing were almost the same thing, and both took a lifetime. Now you exist because you're written down. Your existence lives inside a system, and the system can be wrong about you in a way a village never could. The village could never lose you. The file can. Picture it now. You, today. Strip away the paper. No phone, no wallet, no drawer of documents at home, no name in any database. Walk into a building and try to prove you are born. Prove how old you are. Prove you're a citizen, that you're owed anything, that you're even a person the law recognizes. You can't. Not one of those things. You'd be standing there, obviously alive, obviously a person, and completely unable to prove it. A medieval peasant couldn't prove those things either. The difference is he didn't need to. His proof was the 100 people who knew his face. You have 8 billion neighbors and almost none of them know yours. So we did what that peasant never could. We wrote ourselves down. We built the system that remembers everyone so that no stranger would ever again be no one. And in doing it, we became the first humans in history who can exist completely, breathe and walk and think, and still, in the eyes of the world, not quite be there. The 12 old men are gone. Nobody will swear they remember you. Something else does the remembering now, and it has never met you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to follow the channel